Hi, it's Carolyn, the contest queen, and you will never guess who I have with me. Well, you might be able to guess because his name is on the, the video there, but his full name is Alec Piskopos. Good Greek name.
Yep.
And we call him Pisky for short. And he's a Montreal native, so he's a fellow Canadian. And the reason I'm having him on is because the number one question I get is, how do you win the lottery? And he is a sports betting veteran of 20 years. And he's also worked for over 13 years, well, no longer now. He'll tell his story with the Lottery Corporation. So he's going to be able to answer all your betting and lottery questions. This is fantastic. Now, he's been with a group called the Banfield Group. There's their awesome, you can read his shirt. It says always betting. That's their slogan. Love it. And that started in 2011. So they're celebrating their 10th anniversary this year, which is really exciting. And so I'd officially like you to welcome, I'm just going to call him Alex, because Pisky just feels so strange to me.
Well, everyone in the gambling world enjoys Pisky because they don't have to say Piskopos. That's the complicated Greek name that's been butchered my entire life growing up in Quebec. But yeah, Pisky for short. Alex is fine. Thank you very much for having me, Carolyn, the contest queen. We've been following each other on TikTok for quite a while now, and I'm a big fan of your content because I know what you say is the truth. And yeah, it reminds me of what we do on the sports betting field, that, you know what, if you put the time and effort into a hobby, it can become something. And that's exactly what happened to us.
Well, that's really exciting. And yeah, you have to, that's the one thing that people don't understand is, you know, it takes some effort and some study, but if you put that in, it can be a lot of fun. And the other thing that I like is we parallel, because you've made friends for life from what started off as a hobby. You've gone on adventures that you never would have done had you not gone down this path. And it's exactly the same as sweepstakes. So it's amazing how they parallel. So you have to tell us how you began on your winning journey, because that's what everyone wants to know. How do you get started? And
well, first thing out of the gate, our journey is called always betting. It is not always winning, right? A lot of people think all we do is win. Unfortunately, that's not the case. In the long run, yes, we are winning gamblers. But a lot goes into it, and it's a grind, and there are a lot of ups and downs. So just to make that clear, we started our journey around 2011. The Fulldog and I. So the Fulldog, it's a two-man operation, myself and the Fulldog. The Fulldog is based out of Costa Rica. He's the numbers guy. He's a numbers genius. This guy, it's hard to put it into words, his work ethic and how smart he is in the sports betting industry. We both started off as bookmakers, so that means we were on the house's side. We were the guys responsible for putting out the betting odds on sports. And I did it here in Ontario, Canada. I did it for Proline for 13 years. And in 2011, we started noticing weaknesses in the sports betting markets. And, you know, obviously we started very small, so small to the point where the big breakthrough was me guaranteeing myself $1, one single Canadian dollar, regardless of who would win NBA games. And I called my business partner down in Costa Rica, the Fulldog, and I said, dude, you're not going to believe it. I got this system that, you know, if you play the odds properly, you do this arbitrage sports betting thing, we can guarantee ourselves $1 on each side of basketball games. Well, he laughed at me hysterically. He said, what are you doing wasting your time? That is complete garbage. You know, you can put your time towards something else. I thought otherwise. I said, you know what? If I can do this 7 times in a week, that's a couple free coffees. I think it's worth my time. I would be able to sit at home, do it relatively quickly. I was fascinated by it. Well, fast forward, I guess, from that original call, I'd say about 6 months later, we started noticing that, holy cow, we're onto something here, and we're onto something big. So we started everything by doing arbitrage, which is basically, if you do it in a traditional market, you would buy something for less and sell it for more. That's what arbitrage is. And there was also a thing that we would do in basketball games that was what is called middling. So middling is basically the combined points in a basketball game. Let's say it's 210 points. You would bet over 210 with one gambling house, and then you would bet under 215 with another gambling house. So if the final score ended 211, 212, 213, 214, you would win both your bets. If it didn't land in that middle, then you would simply collect from Peter and pay Paul, right? So with minus taxes, I guess, big, what we call it. So that's where the Banfield Group started. And, these were the early days of live wagering. So nowadays you can bet at all times during a basketball game, football game, hockey game, whatever the case may be. These were the early days of live betting, so there were a lot of opportunities. Some places just didn't really know how to calculate the odds. Other places were very efficient at it. So that's what caused the market gaps. Well, fast forward to 2022. This is my full-time job now. Earlier this year, we started content creation. Actually, I guess it was earlier last year. So it's almost been a year where we started our own podcast, the Always Betting Podcast. We also we do TikTok, we do Instagram, and we are sharing our journey. We're not someone who sells our information. We do not do that. There's a lot of people that ask us to do that. We absolutely do not do that, and we'll never do that. We are here to tell a story. We are here to tell you the rights versus wrongs in the sports betting industry, little tips and tricks along the way. The picks themselves, that's your guys' job, right? You can take what you learn from us, the Banfield Group, and you can apply it to your sports betting practices.
I think that's fantastic. I love that you spotted something and figured it, but you started small. You didn't just take, a huge chunk of money. You said, well, let me try this. I'm gonna check it out and see if it works. And then you started playing with it and having fun with it. And I tell people, when you're having fun, that's when you're going to succeed. And it sounds like you've had, like I said, you're not always winning everything, but it sounds like no matter what you did, even if you didn't win, you were having fun.
Absolutely. That is part of our DNA. The sports betting industry can be stressful at times, right? We can, have a great time. We can be on winning streaks, but we can also have terrible times on cold streaks. But one of the things that we always remind ourselves to do is to have fun with it. And this is something that we put into practice, especially with the content creation now. If you can see on there, some of the TikToks that I put out, I'm very serious and I'm giving tips and talking about very strategic maneuvers. Other times I'm goofing around. It just, again, it's part of my nature. It has to come out, and we like to keep things light. And another thing is the off season. The off season, we like to really keep things light, step away from the computer screens because of all the time that we put in front of the computer screens during the high season, which is football season, September to about February.
Okay.
And another great thing that we like to do, if the season goes according to plan, we usually host big Super Bowl parties. That's something we've been doing for years. We've hosted them in Vegas, we've hosted them here in Toronto, and we've hosted them down in Costa Rica, my second home and my partner's home.
Well, that's really exciting. There's an idea for a giveaway. If you hold it in Toronto, you could always give away 2 tickets to the party.
There you go. That's a great
Maybe
idea.
I can wangle myself an invite. But I find interesting is you talk about your season. You specialize in football, but I think in my brain, there's sports all around the world, all, year long. So you're focusing on football.
Yeah, football right now, with the data and the algorithms that we have, that is our sweet spot. That's where we can make the most profit. But that doesn't mean that's the only thing we bet on. We bet wherever there's value. So whether it be on sports, whether it be on cryptocurrency, whether it be lottery situations, it could be hamster racing for all we don't care where it is. As long as there's value, we will put, we will invest accordingly. But yeah, right now, I'd say our strongest point is probably college football. But that changes, right? Angles dry up, new angles emerge, old angles go away. So it's constantly evolving. We got databases in the process of being built for college basketball, the NBA, all kinds of stuff. And believe it or not, so this is something that I'm sure a lot of people don't know. The less popular the sport, the easier it is to beat. So, for example, NFL is probably the most efficient market. So that is the toughest to beat on the gambling field. If you get into something like Bulgarian badminton, that's probably a lot easier to beat than, no, it's not probably, it definitely is a lot easier to beat in terms of betting than the NFL.
That makes sense because it's actually very similar to sweepstakes. It's easier to win from a small local sweepstakes than it is, the big national ones, or the most popular one in the US is the HGTV home giveaway, and it gets literally hundreds of millions of entries. And so again, it's almost parallel. The smaller the market, the easier it is to win. That's so fascinating how they parallel. Now, I have to drag you back a few years, back to your lottery corporation days, because that's what everybody wants to know. Now, I know you worked on the betting side, but you were in the lottery corporation. And of course, what was in the news was someone won in the United States $1 billion, which is kind of insane. One ticket, that's crazy. So what were your 3 top tips from working at the lottery office?
Well, we've kind of been in battle with the lottery corporation since I've left. It's because it really turned into an us versus them thing. The top 3 things that I learned, though, at the lottery, well, first of all, I'm going to be straight. I'm not a corporate person. So that was a very corporate environment. I learned that I do not belong in a corporate environment. I've got entrepreneur blood inside me. And I like doing things my own way, and that does not fly in a corporate environment. Another thing that I notice is working at the lottery corporation so long, there is a gargantuan amount of recreational gamblers out there. The amount of money that comes into the lottery corporation is stunning. And, it's everything from a $2 Proline sports bettor to a $5 scratch ticket person, right? There's a lot of people. I think it's ingrained in us. The lottery is huge, and there's a lot of benefits in terms of, helping out the community and giving it back to the places that need it in our society. So that's something I learned. I did not know that prior to. Another thing that I learned is that, sports betting is beatable, right? I can't speak for games like the 649 or Lotto Max or anything like that. It's not the area that I worked in. I worked in the sports department at the OLG, and working there for so long and being inside the numbers and watching how odds move and stuff, that's where I learned everything that sports betting is beatable. You can make money doing this. That's basically the 3 things. Again, like I said, there's a little bit of a battle between us and them right now. I worked there for a long time. I'm very thankful for being employed there for a long time. But again, when I left the lottery, it turned into an us versus them game, and that's why now there's a little bit of a battle there going on.
Yeah, it's interesting. And you brought up a point that I thought was interesting about, learning about the odds. And it occurred to me that if someone is leery of spending the money, but likes to bet or understands odds, there's a lot of giveaways, like fantasy football leagues run by, the sports channels. And at the end, they give away, like a truck or a trip or an entertainment system or something, fairly substantial. And you can take all your betting skills and play that. If one of our viewers isn't comfortable, putting down the coin, and could possibly win a brand new vehicle using the same skills. Or did I just give you an idea?
No, it's, again, you have to evaluate your time, right? We're beyond that, but we used to do a lot of that because, yes, you're right. You don't necessarily need money to make money. And I got a couple examples for you. One, this actually came up on our podcast recently because someone wrote in and asked us, how can I bet without using my own money? And I passed that along again to my gambling expert partner, the Fulldog, and he simply answered it with free rolls in poker. So what a free roll is basically you can sign up to a tournament and it's free. And if you win the tournament, you get real money. And there's a professional poker player out there. His name's Daniel Negreanu. He's a Canadian, so I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with him. He actually did a challenge where he started with $0, and it was his goal to make $100,000 in a calendar year. I don't have the explicit details. I really got to read up on this because this is the second or third time it's come up on something live, and I can't just go and search for it. But I think he did it. I think he made $100,000 from zero playing free rolls in poker. So that's one way to do it. But yes, there's another way to do it, and that is just free contests, right? You're the contest queen, and you sign up to a lot of things, I'm sure, that are completely free. It costs you nothing except your time. I had a story with a particular sports book. So a sports book is an online website where you go and place your sports bets. This was when I was much younger. My younger sister, she was about 9 years old. She was into hockey, and I was on this sports betting website. And basically every Saturday night, that's a big night for hockey in Canada, they would give a list of games. And you had to go in there and make your selections of who was going to win the games on Saturday night, hockey night in Canada. Well, I opened an account for my sister, and I said, okay, well, this is free. Let me go in and select for you. So she goes in and, gives me all her picks for the Saturday. Well, lo and behold, doesn't she hit like 13 out of 14, and she wins the contest as a 9-year-old, Carolyn. Can you believe that?
Did they give her the prize?
Well, it was under my name. So yes, they put the money in my account, and yes, I did take a payout. I think it was about $300, which to a 9-year-old might as well be $3 million. And I still laugh about it with my sister to this very day. That was, probably over 20 years ago. And,
so she's not on your team doing all the hockey?
No, she should be. She should be. I've run this by the Fulldog many a times. I said, if my sister's sharp in hockey, we might have to bring her on board. So yes, completely free, 9 years old, $300.
There you go. You got to get her doing the hockey fantasy football league. She might win herself a new car.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
is fantastic. So, and I also chuckled that you discovered that you weren't a corporate player and were an entrepreneur, and that's why I work for myself too, because I've always said I don't play well in the sandbox.
It's tough. It's a tough environment to succeed in, and some people love it, and other people, like myself, they do not. I really had difficulty going in there full of energy and experience from the sports betting market because prior to my tenure at the OLG, I worked at an offshore sports book, right? An offshore betting spot. So I had a different kind of skill set, right? I was working with real sports betting. I wouldn't really consider what the lottery does as real sports betting. Now it is. Back then it wasn't.
Back then.
So yeah, and basically every time I came to the table with ideas, it was whoa, young grasshopper. This is your 2-page manual, nothing less, nothing more. And That doesn't sit too well with me.
But that's okay, because, you know, I've learned that everything that you've gone through and learned in life will always have brought you to where you are now. So all that experience and the friction, I think, you know, Rumi says you can't polish a mirror without rubbing it. So
Absolutely.
you got a bit of a polish there, and now look at how you're shining. So right. So what happened? Like, you left, what year did you leave? You left just before you started with the Banfield Group, right?
Yeah. So the Banfield Group has always been like a side hustle / hobby, right? Like you do with your contests. It's something that's always run on the side. The Fulldog, I think he left his job and started doing Banfield Group stuff full time in 2017, 16. He's going to kill me. I should know that. So he went out the door first. He was the first one to see, can we sustain this? And we did for 3-4 years. And then obviously the pandemic happened, and the Lottery Corporation, this isn't factual. This is my own opinion. I'm not exactly sure why they downsized, but I assume because during the pandemic, obviously a lot of their casinos were closed for an extended period of time. Lottery terminals were getting nowhere near the action that they used to because there were sports shutdowns. People weren't leaving their houses. So dramatic loss of revenue on behalf of the Lottery Corporation. So they wanted to downsize, and they offered severance packages. So that combined with, you know, I wasn't exactly thrilled to be in a corporate environment to begin with, combined with my partner, the Fulldog, coming to Toronto from Costa Rica and sitting me down and having a direct face-to-face conversation. And he said, Pisky, listen, I've been doing the math. I've been tracking these guys for as long as you've been working there. And I'm about to tell you something. You got to listen to it very carefully, and you got to take it very seriously. And I said, okay, you know, what's with the seriousness? We're never serious. What's going on here? He goes, I want you to leave the Lottery Corporation. And I said, the place I've been working for 12 and a half years, like, why? And he's like, because I can guarantee you that if you leave, we can make more money betting against them than you can working there.
Oh.
And I said, no way. I said, bullshit. Show me what you got. And he showed me the data. And Carolyn, I nearly passed out. I said, wow. Yes, we definitely have to do something about this. And within a week, I had submitted my resignation saying I was going to take the package. And you know what? At that point in time, I said, it's time to bet on myself. And here we are. That was almost a calendar year ago. And the Fulldog was bang on. We did the damage that we needed to do. And you know what? That whole project, betting against the Lottery Corporation, is going to be a movie one day, or a documentary or something. I've been screaming about it on TikTok. I've been yelling about it on Instagram, all the social media platforms. No one has reached out yet, but I know for a fact that one day it is going to be a movie.
Well, there you go. I love that, how you bet on yourself, and how lucky you were, like seriously lucky, that you had a package. Like, you had they call that a golden parachute, right? Like, you just didn't leave cold. Your business didn't just disappear. Uh-oh, we lost Pisky. Okay, we'll get him back. Hi, we're back. So let's pick up where we left off, because it was so exciting. And you were able to leave the Lottery Corporation with a severance package. Hello, that is amazingly lucky. So you could bet on yourself. Fantastic. I love that. And so you've started going down this path where you're betting on yourself. You were being very successful on your own at the time where everything shut down, which is fantastic for you, because now you could focus on this. So what is your favorite thing to bet on?
Well, like I said earlier, whatever we can add to Banfield Group's bottom line is what we're going to go after. So in the moment, it's college football. Last year, it was NFL. The year before that, it was the NBA. So really, it really doesn't matter to us. And I gave the example of hamster racing. Like, honestly, it does not matter. We're big cryptocurrency enthusiasts. We're not professionals, so anything that we say about cryptocurrency, take it with a grain of salt. We think it is the future, so we're heavily involved in that. But stocks, precious metals, real estate, whatever the case may be, again, the whole goal is just to continue adding to Banfield's bottom line. But sports betting is our baby. Sports betting is something that we're the most knowledgeable about. Everything else, we are extreme rookies, including this social media game that we're learning more and more about by the day. But again, favorite thing to bet on is just simply whatever adds to the bottom line for us.
That's exciting. So I wanted to tell everybody to go follow you on TikTok, because before we got cut off, you were talking about your story has to be a movie, which I think is fantastic. And I think the reason I wanted to bring that up is that your TikTok, you do most of them in black and white, which I love because it almost gives it a cinematic feel to your videos. But off air, you told me there's a reason you film in black and white. And I'm like, that's fascinating, because I thought it was just a branding choice, which, the marketer in me goes, oh, what a clever branding choice to do everything in black and white.
We started the black and white thing very early in our social media journey, before we even took it seriously or anything. And we've actually seen a couple, people that I respect on social media say that you got to be different. So that's how we are different. But no, there is definitely a reason behind the black and white content. And that is, again, we are sports betting industry veterans, right? 20 plus years. And because we've worked in this very unique industry, we've always been considered the gray area guys, right? The guys who deal in cash, the guys who are betting with these weird offshore places, the guys who, just betting in general has that kind of mysterious, kind of weird, like, do these guys have a problem? What are they doing? Are they dealing with underground bookies? Are they dealing with mafia figures? There's all kinds of like weird stigmas around sports betting until recently, because recently, April 4th, 2022, to be exact, sports betting became legal in the province of Ontario, and in most states from our neighbors to the south in the U.S. And now all of a sudden it's cool to be a sports bettor, which is very foreign to us. We're seeing, advertisements everywhere. If you watch a hockey game these days, it's impossible to watch a hockey game without seeing a sports betting ad. If you're in a downtown core like Toronto, the TTC subway is filled with sports betting advertisements. The trains, the Via Rail, everywhere is sports betting. And again, that is so new and so weird to us, because we've always been the gray area guys. And that's exactly why this is in gray as well.
I love that, because I was right. As a marketer, it is your brand.
Yes.
But I didn't catch why, because like I said, I thought it had a cinematic effect, which is interesting because like you said, some of your TikToks are casual, some are funny, some are serious, some are interesting, some are cheeky. I love the cheeky ones. That's just my bias. That's why I use that picture. If you look at the picture that I used, I think it's also on your Instagram, where you had a bit of a troll. And so you showed your tickets winning on the terminal, the lottery terminal, and you were eating chicken. And if somebody didn't catch that little sly Easter egg, it was winner, winner, chicken dinner, which I thought was really funny. I thought, you didn't say anything. You didn't say anything. You just ate your chicken and let the lottery terminal do. And I'm like, that is so good. Because I know it was fun. And that sound is, who doesn't like that sound of the kajingles or the if you do the casino, like they all make that fun noise, and you're like, makes you feel excited and like you won. And
absolutely, actions speak louder than words. That's what I'll say about that. But yeah, the chicken thing. If you follow us on TikTok, you know what I'm talking about. That was just something, I knew I needed to make a spike. I have no marketing background whatsoever, so I don't have that luxury to lean on things that work versus don't work. So at the beginning of our social media journey, I was looking, for anything, throwing mud against the wall and hoping that it would stick. So yes, because we bet so heavily during the course of the football season and did some serious damage to the Lottery Corp, I had an exorbitant amount of winning tickets, and I'd go around the city. And obviously, because they saw me so often doing all our betting, I became friends with a lot of the lottery retailers. Yeah, great people. And this was something that, just popped into my mind, winner, chicken dinner. And, it was kind of awkward out of the gate because I'd show up with literally a box of Popeyes and say, listen, I got to do something here. It's going to be a little bit weird. Can you just work with me? We're doing this online social media push. And you know what? The clerks and the lottery retailers had a blast with it. They said, you know what? You guys are amazing because you like to keep things light. And this is good. No one else does this. Nobody comes in here with a bucket of chicken and eats while the horn's going off. And I know it sounds ridiculous. I know it looks ridiculous, but when you get into this social media game, and I'm sure you can attest to it, Carolyn, that there's a lot of haters out there. There's a lot of people that dislike you for no reason specifically at all. They just hate to hate. I don't know. They got things going on in their life. They're not 100%. But it caught me off guard out of the gate because I'm like, I'm trying to do a positive thing here. I'm trying to share our story. I'm trying to engage with people. When people start throwing daggers at you, it's really like a holy cow. Like, what in the world is going on here? So, some of the ones that got really lippy with me and mouthy, I would hit back with the chicken videos, especially the ones that said you're full of crap. You guys don't win. And I said, well, I don't know. So that's what that was all about.
That's I learned that one like 20 years when my first book came out. All the haters came out before the social media, so I was lucky. It was just kept to the online groups and forums and emails, but it was still. Now I'm like, you get a bit, you don't care. Anyway, this is so good. This is a good question. I'm actually, unfortunately, because we lost the original video, all the first set of questions disappeared. So if you had a question originally, please repost it and we'll get to it. But this is actually a good question. It says, my son and brother are into sports betting. Is your information relevant for the US or is it strictly for Canada?
No, our information goes for anyone around the world.
Good.
I would suggest your son and brother to have a listen to our Always Betting podcast. It's available on Spotify. It's available on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcast, wherever podcasts are. That's where we are. And again, we don't give specific picks out. That's not what we do. We are not a tout service. We are not anyone who sells picks. We are professional sports bettors that are simply documenting our journey. And when you listen to our podcast, you'll be able to see what goes into our day-to-day lives of professional sports betting, right? The highs, the lows. And we have a very intelligent guy on that podcast. Again, it's my business partner, the Fulldog. And it is my job as basically the host of the podcast to extract as much information out of him as possible without obviously giving away our secret sauce, because that's something that we use to, put food on the table. But he gives invaluable information, stuff that you can't get anywhere else on the internet, in real life, wherever. And yeah, every week we get in front of the mic. We talk about how our week's going. We talk about news in the sports betting industry. We talk about stories of our past. We talk about things that have worked for us, things that have not worked for us. And it's, I guess, obviously I'm biased, but it's a great follow. It's a great listen. And the most important thing about our podcast and all our social media is that it's real. In our industry, sports betting, it is dominated by con artists, scam artists, liars, cheaters, you name it. We're the real guys. We're the guys that are going to tell you if it's, if we're on a hot streak, if we're on a losing streak, you're going to see it. You're going to see it in the content. You're going to feel it. We're going to talk about it. We are the real guys. Everything we do is completely genuine.
I liked earlier when you said you didn't use the word losing, use the word cool. Like things were just cool. And I thought, oh, that's a good choice of words, because it doesn't mean that you're losing. It just means that things are, a little slow, and it'll come back up like a wave. Now, I get asked this question all the time. What is the biggest thing you've won? So, what is the biggest thing you've won?
Well, here's another thing about the Banfield Group and our journey is we don't talk specific numbers. We find that to be a little bit distasteful. We're not here to brag. I don't like that. We're not braggers. But I will tell you the story of the biggest win in Banfield Group history. So it was a stormy December night. It was in 2021. It was, I believe it was December 6th. And that date sticks in my mind. I'll never forget it. So basically how it would work is we would play combinations on every football game that the Lottery Corporation would put out. And it would be my job to go around from store to store to store around the city of Toronto, betting these combinations. And why I would go store to store to store is because the Ontario Lottery Corporation has a rule where you can only bet $100 per terminal, basically $100 per store. So in order for us to get down on our bets, I would have to literally walk all over the city, probably 8 to 10 hours on game days. Well, this morning was a little different. I would get up usually nice and early. The Fulldog would send me the combinations from Costa Rica. I would print them out. I would make envelopes, and I'd go out and do my betting. Today, I woke up to approximately, I think it was 12 unread text messages from the Fulldog. And that was very unique. That was very odd. And I'm like, okay, so I'm reading through them, and he's like, dude, there is a lot of wind in Buffalo right now. There is odds movements like I have never seen it. Now, this guy's a 20-plus year veteran in the sports betting industry, working both as a professional sports bettor and a professional bookmaker, which is he was on the side of taking the bets. And he's like, there is something up with this games. I'm seeing record wins in the wins, as in wind. I'm seeing record wins in the forecast. You got to get out there onto the streets of Toronto and bet this as fast as humanly possible, because I've never seen it. I think this is an opportunity of a lifetime. So I said, okay, no problem. So I got out, you know what I mean? I skipped a couple morning routines. I got out there. I started pounding the pavement, store to store to store. He was betting this game since 5:30 in the morning Eastern. And he didn't stop until the game started at 8 p.m. at night.
So I'll just interrupt for a second. Where was he betting? Online?
He was betting online. Yes, he takes care of all the online betting, and I would take care of the betting going store to store to store in Toronto.
Okay.
Well, sure enough, the broadcast start out of Buffalo. It was the Buffalo Bills against the New England Patriots, and the sportscasters, the people, talking about the game and setting up the game pregame, they are getting blown off their chairs. That's how windy it was in the stadium. You had players come out and throw a football up in the air. It would land about, half the football field away from them. That's how strong the wind gusts were. So because of all this wind and, weather factors, it was very, very difficult for either of these teams to score any points. And that's what every single combo and every single bet that we made was under the projection, under the projection, under the projection, under the projection. So sure enough, this game gets played. It was a terrible game from a fan standpoint, because there was no offense whatsoever. I think the New England Patriots threw the ball the entire game 3 times. So it was just back and forth, pure garbage football, which was great for us because, again, we had under-projected everything. And that game totaled, again, it went final. You can watch it on our Instagram accounts. Someone asked in the comments here, at Banfield Group, Field, Banfield Group. That's our social media tags everywhere across the board. You can look at it because I was documenting, like I was in front of the camera saying something is up with this game. The Fulldog doesn't talk like this, and then we win it. You can see my emotion in real time. Again, I'm not going to give the official number because we don't do that, but I can tell you that it was well into the six figures.
So basically, life-changing.
Yes, absolutely life-changing. It's something that. We know there's always going to be a couple of those big games a year, but not this big. This was, it happens according to the data that the Fulldog had. This game happens once a decade, if that. So it happened. We cashed in big time. And but again, if you're wondering what the celebration was like, did we get limos? Did we get champagne? No. We had a pretty excited phone call, the Fulldog and I, saying, wow, can you believe this? And the excitement lasted maybe 2 minutes tops. And then it was back to business. And that's the way you got to be when you play this sports betting game. You can never get too high when things are going good, and you can never get too low when things are going bad.
Not even a vacation in Costa Rica?
I mean, yes, it did pave the way for our Super Bowl party at the end of the season. Absolutely. But we're very calculated on what we do in this sports betting space. So we kind of know what's coming down the line. Now, does it test us? Absolutely. Because there are times where, we'll look at each other dead in the face and ask each other, like, do we have a problem here? Because let me tell you, there's a very fine line in this industry between being a complete genius and a complete degenerate moron, right? Yeah. So you got to be very careful. And again, we are very calculated, and we are confident that with the data and our experience and knowledge that we're going to have the upper hand on anyone that we do business with in the long run.
Yeah, that's fantastic, because you're right. You're making a conscious choice, and I think that's the difference between what you're doing and someone that has a gambling addiction. Is you're making a very conscious corporate choice versus, hey, let's take my paycheck and go to the casino and see what I can win. I think there's a huge difference. Now,
absolutely.
What are your future plans? Because we already have a huge win, a podcast, how exciting, and social media. I mean, TikTok is so fun. I love TikTok. I have met the best people on TikTok. What a crazy platform. And of course, being the contest queen and looking at that type of stuff, people like you come across my For You page, and then that was it. I'm like, okay, I got to follow this guy. This is so fascinating to me. Because I'm so frugal. Like I said, that's why I was asking you the question. Like I got to look up that fella, how you can bet without money, because that's why I like sweepstakes. You can enter and it doesn't cost you anything. It's free except your time. And I'll sit in front of the TV with my little Chromebook entering sweepstakes while a movie's on or something. So it doesn't feel like work. Mm-hmm. But so we've got those two. We're going to put out to the universe that you're going to get your television series or movie. But what else have you got planned?
Well, there's actually big things going on right now for the Banfield Group. So as I mentioned earlier in this interview, I'm based out of Toronto. I am leaving Toronto. I am in the process of selling everything. And recently, we just picked up a new Jeep, a Jeep Wrangler. We turned it into the Betmobile. And if anyone's in and around Ontario and you see a black Jeep driving around with always betting all over it, that is us. That is the Betmobile. Well, we're taking that Betmobile, and the three of us, so the three people on our podcast, myself, the Fulldog, and the Godfather. Shout out to the Godfather. I can see him yelling things at me in the comments here. We are jumping in the Betmobile and taking a 10-day road trip down to Las Vegas, where I will be spending the duration of the football season. And the reason we're doing that is Well, the content is going to be easy. We're in Las Vegas, so you can basically take a video of everything, and it's exciting. But not just that. When you get really good at this sports betting game, you need places to bet, because one of the black eyes of the industry is that if sports betting houses, whether it be online or down in casinos, if you start winning too much, they actually ask you to leave and say they don't want your business anymore. So going down to Vegas, it'll give us basically, in layman's terms, more grocery stores to shop at, right? We always want to make sure we're betting the cheapest price on whatever team we have to bet, right? That just makes sense. Long term, it makes a huge difference, and it's really a must when you're doing this professionally. So we're going down to Vegas. Along the 10-day road trip, we're going to be stopping at casinos. We're going to be stopping at baseball stadiums. And we even have, I think, a drag strip for racing in there in the middle of it. So it's going to be great. I think it's really going to shock some life into our content creation. And you guys will be able to follow us. If you follow us on TikTok, I think I'm going to do a few updates daily, just where we are, what we're doing, what we're eating, what we're betting on. And we're going to have a lot of fun with it.
Oh my gosh, that is going to be so fun. I love that. And you're going to miss the winner.
Yes.
Which is, because we're both in the Ontario, and I don't feel too bad for him spending the winter in Las Vegas, because that's going to be nice and warm. So you're going to have fun, you're going to expand your career, and you're going to miss the winter. That is a win-win-win if I have ever heard it.
It is a 3-team parlay or a trifecta for anyone that's into the gambling. Yes, we are doing the full tour there. We're super excited. The guys are excited. My girlfriend's excited. She's coming with me, and it's going to be a great time. And documenting our journey. So you're going to see exactly what goes into betting on a full-time basis, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it as well.
Oh, we had a question, and actually I had thought of this because I've got the movie. I just haven't had a chance to watch it. Is it similar to Jerry and Marge Go Large? You've heard of that one?
I'm not a big movie guy, unfortunately, so I have not seen that movie. I will jot it down. It'll be on my to-do list. So I can't really comment on that. I'm not really sure.
Well, I'll give you a synopsis. I saw the trailer, and I'm like, okay, I have to watch this first chance I get. Jerry finds a flaw in the lottery system, and they start betting, and he starts winning. And I believe it's actually based on a true story. So I'll do some research, and I'll write a blog post about it, and add in your stuff, and we'll put it together. But yeah, I know if you're not a huge movie guy, that might be the one exception you have to make.
Well, I can comment on it because yes, I do know what you're talking. It's a new movie, right?
Yeah, it's brand new.
Yeah, brand new. Okay, so we are exactly that. What that guy did to the lottery down in the States somewhere, I think. Yeah. I'm not sure where it is. That's exactly what we did to the Lottery Corporation here in Ontario. And the craziest, ironic part of it all is that I went to the Lottery Corporation and told them that there was something up with their sports betting product. I said, this is beatable. You cannot offer it in this way. With my sports betting background, I'm telling you, you shouldn't be doing this. And again, they gave me the spiel of, settle down, young grasshopper, 2-page manual, nothing less, nothing more. And then I said, okay. And then that's when the Fulldog, without my knowledge, started building data on the Lottery Corporation, how they offer their product, the results of the sports based into it. And that's what he did. He built a mathematical formula, and that's what he put in front of me and said, Pisky, it's time. And here's why. And so, yes, to answer your question, it is exactly like that. We are the Canadian version of that story. And I'm really hoping that it's just a matter of time before someone in the movie industry reaches out to us.
That'd be fantastic. And I think that, let me see. I think that's what we have. We're at our time. Now, what I'm going to do for all of us who missed it, we had a bit of a hiccup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go download both halves of the video, splice them together, and upload one video. And then make sure you guys can follow the Banfield Group and all their exciting adventures in Oh my gosh, this is going to be a road trip for all road trips.
It really is. We're super excited. Like I said, a lot of the people I highly respect on social media, especially TikTok, they've all encouraged to post multiple times daily. Now that's very difficult for us when it's low season. We don't do a lot of baseball betting, but it will be possible as the season progresses in football. But this is one of my goals on the road trip, is that I'm going to take what they're telling me and try to post 3-4 times a day just to give you guys an update every single step of the way on the road trip. And it's gonna be a ton of fun. Just the characters involved. The Fulldog is this mysterious genius. The Godfather is very elaborate. He's very loud. So we're gonna get him going. And then you have myself behind, just trying to put it all together. Before we go, Carolyn, though, I have some stats for you. Yes, I have stats for you and your listeners. It's on the lottery. I probably should have mentioned it when you asked me, what did you learn at the lottery? I didn't learn this at the lottery. The Fulldog learned this at the lottery. So, he said, if you're going on with the contest queen, I want you to share this with everybody, because this is something that he sees, and it's worthy of a mention. And you guys are really going to look different at scratch tickets. So it's a scratch ticket, data set. So, okay, $1 to $2 scratch tickets. If you're spending $1 or $2, the Lottery Corporation on average holds 39% on those sales. So for every $100 they sell, they hold 39. Okay. On $3 scratch tickets, the Lottery Corporation holds 35%. So a little bit less. On $5 scratch tickets, the Lottery Corporation holds 33%. So a little bit less. And on $10 scratch tickets, the Lottery Corporation holds 30%. So what that is saying is that if you spend a bit more, I'm not encouraging to play scratch tickets in the slightest, because again, look, the Lottery Corporation is holding 30% of their sales. But it is harder to win a $1 scratch ticket than it is a $10 scratch ticket. That is facts. And that is coming from data that we scraped from their website, right? We went in and looked at the odds of winning at every single level of scratch tickets. And the Fulldog wanted me to share that with you and all your listeners. So there you go.
That's interesting, because I've always seen sometimes they have the big one locked up. It's like a $50 scratcher. And I keep thinking, I wonder if I should ever play that. Now I'm going to go in and look at what the odds are and figure it out, because that might be worth just to try and do a video on, like buy one to try and film the whole unscratching or scratching. Is it unreveal? I don't know.
I'm not sure either. I did one of those on TikTok, and a bunch of people started yelling at me saying I was scratching it wrong. Apparently there's a way to scratch them properly, and I don't know. People find the weirdest things to yell and scream about. More so to the fact, we just had a contest on our TikTok platform. I don't know if you caught it, Carolyn. It was the Change Bucket Challenge, and basically
I told everyone to enter. So did you get a winner yet?
We did get a winner. So what it was is that I'm leaving Toronto, and I had to count my Change Bucket that I had been adding to for 16 years. I started in 2006. So I had one of those giant water cooler jugs filled to the brim with coins. The jug itself, before I emptied any coins, weighed 136 pounds. That's how much change was in it. And it took us being myself, my lovely grandmother, and my lovely girlfriend, it took us 8 days to take everything out and roll it. And we finally got an amount. And we told everyone, just to have some fun with it, we said, if you can guess the total amount in this jug within $20, we will send you $500. And it turned out that there were 2 people that guessed within $20. One person, listen to this. You want to hear how lucky this was. So the total amount of the jug was $5,432.73. This person on TikTok made a random guess, and they went down their keyboard. They went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So $5,432.10. They were off by 63 cents. They were one of our winners.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. Absolutely nuts. And just to again, we're not supposed to concentrate on the haters, but even people hated on me for doing this. They said, because I told everyone yesterday, you got to go onto our podcast to listen to see who won. And people hated that. So I'm the number one hated guy on TikTok now because I went and told someone to go listen to our podcast, unfortunately.
Yeah, you should do an update. Actually, that would be a good TikTok video because you have 3 minutes maybe, and you could tell a short version of the story because that is a great story. That would be a good video.
Yeah,
because that's fascinating because the guessing games, it feels to me like they almost went with their intuition and just went.
I don't know really how, like, kudos to that person that did that. I can't believe like that's how they're going to win a cash prize. But the guesses were all over the board. There were guesses as high as $35,000 and guesses as low as $300. Right, so it was really all over the place. Even us ourselves, I went into it thinking, oh yeah, I must have at least 15,000 in that jug. So giving away 500 to stir a little. Stir some stuff up and, have some fun with it. Great. No, it turned out to be like 10%. So anyways, a bet's a bet. You got to pay your wins. You got to pay your losses.
So did each person get 500 or did you split it in two?
No, it's going to be a split pot. And we're still, again, we just announced it yesterday on our podcast, who the winners were. So we're still waiting for them to hopefully listen to the podcast and reach out to us to claim their prize. But if they don't, in a few days, I'll reach out to them on TikTok and say, hey, listen, guess what? You guys took it down.
That's a great, you should announce it on TikTok with that story because that's brilliant. I love that story, and it's fun to host giveaways. I think I guess too, but I find it fascinating because you saved it since you were 6. So what some people might not know in Canada is we got rid of our pennies. And then we got rid of our $1, $2 bill, and we got rid of our $1 bill. So then there's coins are 5, 10, 25, $1, and $2. But he's been collecting since he was 6. So there's going to be pennies in there right up to $2 coins. So you could have had any amount in there. There
were 19 pounds of pennies. So I gotta find a way to offload those onto somebody. There were coins there were TTC tokens in there. That's the Toronto Transit Community or Community Convention or whatever they're called. There was Australian coins. There was Costa Rican coins. There was coins from the UAE. There was all kind of multinational, I guess, coin jar. But
did you keep those aside? Because I keep a jar of all international money. It's kind of a manifesting thing that I want to be global.
Okay.
So I need money from all over the world because I can't spend it.
Right.
So I kind of figure, well, I'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So I have a jar of all international. Actually, I think it's right.
Yeah, I actually saw it pre-recording. Yes, yeah. I said, oh,
that's all money I can spend. Well, unless I go to the country of origin.
I've seen a lot of change in the last 8 days. I'm a big fan of digital currency now. But no, it was a lot of fun. It was great engaging with people online. Great spending time with my grandmother. She took it very seriously. She's been on my case for over a decade to say, when the day comes to roll this stuff, I better be included. So I went to her and included her in the roll. And it was a good time. But there's another element to it, which is the specialty coins, right? There's specialty quarters, there's specialty loonies, there's specialty pennies. The only problem is we hit the road in less than 2 weeks for Vegas. I don't have time to go through it with a magnifying glass. So whoever's getting the next batch, or the bank, or someone's going to get lucky, maybe, if they look into it.
Oh yeah, you never know what was in there. Maybe there was like a $500,000 coin or something. I don't
My
think
goodness.
so, but
Yeah, I hope not.
yeah.
But hey, you know what, Ryan? If it's meant to be for somebody else, it's meant to be.
No, that's okay. Anyway, oh my gosh, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I want everyone to go follow you on TikTok, because you do the best. And that's the wonderful thing about TikTok, is there, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, all kinds of videos. I watched one where he did a review on a casino, cheeky stuff, techniques, all kinds of great stuff. So go follow him on TikTok. Instagram is a little more static, even though they're getting away from the pictures. They're going to video too. And it's just, I'm so glad that you're having a fantastic year, and that you're going to have so much fun in Vegas. So, because you're not always betting on bets, you're betting on your life, you're betting on adventure. And it's just, I'm so glad that we got to meet, sort of, because we're not in person.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me, Carolyn. Continue with your content as well. I love watching all your stories. I love watching all your tips. And again, I can relate to it, because what you're saying is the truth, right? If you put in the work, the rewards will be there. So continue your great work as well. And again, thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.